My bad. Picks and bans. You're not off the hook yet, guys. Nice try. That was a test and you failed. No, I'm just kidding. Let's take a look at picks and bans. We've got Awoken, Blood Covenant, Molten Falls, Runes, and Veil. Any thoughts here on what you see?
I'll probably say with Awoken, maxter's going to be very happy with that. The fact that gnik actually chose that for himself, it's actually one of maxter's better maps, so I think he's going to be quite pleased with how he's going to progress. So I think if he can get at least an early lead, just get some momentum going, just to keep the pressure on gnik from the first map and the get-go, then we can maybe definitely see something quite interesting. But of course, with Blood Covenant, the Athena versus the Slash, that's going to be a very speedy map to start off with after Awoken.
There are a couple of maps that stand out to me personally. The first one really is the Molten Falls pick, where it's going to be Keel versus Scalebearer. We have already seen today the usefulness that Scalebearer is able to really put on this map. There's a lot of room for him to build up that speed. The faster he goes, the stronger he becomes, right? But then the Keel, we'll see if the Keel is able to really put a dent in that. He is not going to be able to dodge the Bull Rush. But Veil of Nath, you know, if we reach that decider map, excuse me, and we start to see a Death Knight, of all the champions you could, in theory, do okay against, I think Doom is... He's got the double jump, but I can imagine the Flame Strike of if we have like that point-blank exchange, Flame Strike might actually be quite alright versus him. You know, if you can get the projectile portion, not the flames on the floor.
And it's also probably one of the best maps in the pool if you have to play Death Knight. He isn't meta at all, but Veil is still one of the closer, tighter maps where you've got a lot of use out of that Flame Strike, so probably not that bad of a pick for him in the end.
Any predictions on this one, gentlemen? Putting you on the spot for the first time of the day?
I think it has all potential to be a 3-2. With just recent form, though, I'm actually going to put my money on maxter. I believe in him, because he showed great form last stage, and this might be his stage to shine.
Well, it sounds like, sorry to cut you off, everyone, but it sounds like the game is ready to begin. Let's shoot it on to our casters, ZSX and 40 Lions.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. I'm glad to bring this game to you with 40 as we get to cast the enigma that is Maxter. Have you got any thoughts about this matchup, 40?
I'm excited to see how he fares this time around. I know last stage he actually got kept out by Zenaku. Shouts to him for taking that series over Sid, by the way. But looking forward to seeing if Maxter can make his way into the league here as we're live on Awoken map number 1, best of 5 between gnik and Maxter. Nyx versus Ranger. I like Nyx on this map. Traversing that middle ground is going to be very easy, but again, the orb for Maxter is going to be both burst damage, but also covering distance. There's the quick ghost walk right off the bat. He's going for the damage, and Maxter behind you. 2 big rockets make that 3, and that's a quick frag for gnik.
It is, and gnik, one of these players I've always felt that needs that kind of start. He's such a momentum-based player, and when he's on his form, yes, we haven't seen the success that maybe he would like, but when he's on form, he really is very gifted and pulls off some great stuff. So that kind of start will definitely fill him with confidence and put him in a great stead to move on, as Maxter makes a pretty big committal onto this Mega, but fluffs his orb a little bit and needs to retreat. But obviously the Nyx, not the biggest stack in the world, takes a little bit too much damage for gnik to stick around us. Well,
very, very close fight there. gnik just missing that jump on the middle ground that could cost him the Mega. Indeed, it looks like it will. A little bit of tri-bolt. Maxter making his way in, will secure it and dodge that rail. So stack looking a little bit better for Maxter as he grabs his lower 50, but heavy should go to gnik. Dances a little bit through that drive through the window. Don't want to get served up a rocket through that. That's not going to be tasty there. A little bit of rocket damage as well. As again, this map is mostly just battle of the middle ground here. This little T-con area waiting at the end of Banana. gnik lying in wait.
yeah, obviously as a Nyx, you need to play a little bit slower, so it's all about holding this position strong, as you said, and Nyx's maneuverability gives you a good option to do that. Maxter, very late on this Mega, maybe tried to second guess where gnik was going and misses out on the item, which is not what you want to do, but hitting back-to-back rails is a great response to that slight mistake, and he's caught gnik up the jump pad. What a read by Maxter. He's low, he probably can't contest for this heavy, but he gets himself a tight game.
Good tied at 1, like you said, and could he set up for some damage here? Looking for a little bit of a rail angle here as gnik makes his way to get his own rail. There's a rocket. A little bit of a warning shot, no damage yet, and Maxter slowing it down in his T-con position. Ooh, takes the dire orb, that's interesting.
Yeah, there's that's a rail and a half. There's some rather unusual plays coming out from Maxter. It feels to me at the minute, maybe nerves, whatever it is, but it's sloppy with the basics. He hasn't been timing particularly well, slightly out of position for these items, and in return taking too much damage on pickup or missing out altogether. So if If he can improve on that, he's in with a good shout, but he does force out that Ghost Walk and a great use of the rocket jump to put the pressure on, exactly reading where gnik would be hiding. Doesn't come to anything just yet, but gnik is out of position for the Mega, and Maxter gives himself a nice little stack here. gnik trying to respond in kind with rails, does so, realizes his opportunity to push in.
Wow. That was just a dance. gnik was just dancing, just taunting him. The rails weren't enough, and Maxter should have just probably glued with LG. I don't know if he ran out or not, but gnik capitalizes. It's 2-1. There's the steal on the heavy. That's a good rocket. Should follow up with it. Maxter over at the rail area has superior height advantage and the stack, but he lets gnik get away.
He does. gnik is living on the edge though. He's railable. He needs to play slow, pick up the lights and get some of his health back. He has been doing a good job at the rail, and that's going to be such a valuable asset for him in this game. We've seen how Maxter wants to play. He wants to take these close combat engagements, so it's definitely on gnik to keep him at bay, make sure he's always in a strong position to make sure that Maxter can't capitalize upon that, and that's exactly what he's doing. That's super creative. I like that orb. He's taken lots of damage, but he's got position on this heavy. I like the creativity.
Goes up the jump pad, Ghost Walk there to bail him out. But yeah, that orb play was a good set piece there from Maxter to dive in, grab the heavy, and be out before any damage could take place. So that was really good play there. Similar to gnik, he went up for the Mega just in case. If I could steal it, great. If not, I have the Ghost Walk to get out scot-free. There's a great rail there from gnik. There's Maxter on the back foot now, looking for some armor. Oh, gnik, please. I like this play to deny the 50 before he grabs the heavy.
Yeah, he knows how starved for items Maxter is. And it's fine, like, gnik doesn't need to push the initiative right now. Yes, he's in a great position, but just taking the items and taking the map away from Maxter is always going to be the priority. And now he's realized how limited Maxter is in terms of resources. This is where he can push in, but Maxter sneaky around the corner with a little bit of a rail, but that's doubly as good as Maxter hitting back-to-back rails. And gnik's forced to pop the Ghost Walk on the defensive once again, but catches him off guard on the low ground, and that's unfortunate for Maxter after such great setup play.
gnik making that one look a little easy there. Maxter again committing to that orb, that short burst damage he was going for. So the Ghost Walk came out from gnik. Just missing with that rail, trying to hit something. Who put that wall there? Maxter getting a rail of his own. He's going to be able to rain down some damage, just a tickle, it looks like, as gnik making his way back. Now he has him trapped. There's a good defensive rail, but Maxter needs to get out of there. There's a lot of LGs. He's going to commit to this. He is, and he's going to get the frag.
Yeah, that was a really unusual fight. Like, gnik had the position on the Mega. He wasn't forced into a fight, and yet he took it to the death, which was a little bit bizarre, perhaps underestimating the aim and stack of his opponent. Because of that, he's given Maxter an amazing lifeline when he probably didn't need one. Once again, forcing out the Ghost Walk, and gnik is in a bad position here, taking that lightning on fight. Both of them having questionable plays at this point in time, but we're at a tie game, 3-3, 6 minutes gone, and gnik is just continuing to take these mad fights. Yeah, it's bizarre. He's giving Maxter free frags, essentially.
Interesting play there, and that could cost him there. Maxter tries to get an opening rail. He'll miss, but he has perfect position on the Mega with time to rotate back to the heavy. It's a good rocket there, but Maxter wants some damage. Doesn't want to give this up for free. There's a rocket. He's going to have to concede without really dealing anything.
Oh, that's a good rail by gnik. Really important as it will force Maxter off of this Mega. I would be surprised if he orbs up to try and get it. It would be symptomatic of how he's played. He's out of rocket ammo though, so that could come back to haunt him if gnik does decide to push. gnik will obviously not be aware of that, so fortunately, at least for now, Maxter gets away with it.
Needs to be careful how he engages here. He's also running rails, and Mega's left up, so heavy is gnik's preference on this cycle here. So gnik trying to make something happen with the wall jump. Maxter reads it well, gets a rail of his own. Almost gets another one here as gnik wants more. Peeks again, but he's going to eat another one. Maxter looking really good, trying to close this out. Almost hits the third, and the LG might be enough just in the nick of time. gnik getting to the banana, grabbing 2 25s, and now Ghost walking out. This is risky business.
What a crazy orb, but it definitely nearly worked as gnik is very low. Completely unexpected, and Maxter continually makes these very untraditional moves, and gnik doesn't know how to respond. He himself is taking high-risk, low-reward plays, and maxter is making him pay as his rail is on fire.
Goes through the telly. Could get another frag here. There it is as gnik tries to double back, and the timing from maxter is perfect. The assassin from Argentina opening this up 6-3 as we're rounding the 8-minute mark. There's some good damage coming out from gnik, but the rockets around the corner. Perfectly placed.
This has very quickly built itself into a commanding lead, and very much off of the back of gnik's mistakes. Maxter has been clinical. It's taken a while to get into the game, but ever since he's got control, I think he's begun to rattle gnik ever so slightly.
Yeah, there's a key moment here, I think, too, where gnik kind of stood his ground and took fights he didn't really need to. And that opened it up for maxter, so you got to question whether that was just, I'm going to flex on him a little bit, or just miscalculating the stack. Nevertheless, 7-3 with a minute and a half left. Maxter looking pretty good to take this one. gnik needs a little something here. The heavy's up, and he's not going to be there to grab it. And again, the orb play. Ooh,
see how comfortable maxter is playing Ranger on this map. As Letha referred to, it is one of Maxter's stronger maps, and clearly Ranger is a favoured. The use of the rocket and the creative use of the orbs as well has definitely surprised gnik on a number of occasions. And as long as he maintains control, this map is done and dusted. Taking the Mega away, there's a few seconds to get set up for the Heavy. Don't need to take any necessary fights. Even just let gnik hit a rail, but maxter has just blown gnik away in a lot of these fights.
Really well done, yeah. I like that play where he faked going towards the 50 armor down there, and that bought him some more time as gnik doesn't even know where he is now. Time taken away. There's a dire orb to get out of there. There's a good rail and a return rail. 3 HP. Maxter bleeding internally right now. gnik needs to get this frag. If he wants any shot at bringing this back, it'll still be difficult. There's a great rocket. Make that 2. The trade comes out. That's going to be in maxter's favor.
And this was gnik's map pick, not to forget, and he put up some really strong performances here, but he's come up against maxter, who's clearly well prepared, and much like CNZ earlier in the day, needs to have a bit of reflection on what went wrong on this map, because it did feel for the first few minutes gnik was more in control, was playing a bit smoother, and then there was some unnecessary moves in the mid-game that came out to haunt him as he couldn't ever get back into the game.
Yeah, kind of committed to some shaft battles that maybe he didn't need to. Maybe he could have peppered out some damage and then fallen back to an item. I remember specifically the Mega was up and he kind of had him cornered in the drive-through area, and then he just committed. And then there was a stutter step, I think, by Rockets where he committed again, and you're kind of wondering why commit to those fights. But, I mean, maxter made the most of it, capitalized on gnik's mistakes, and he's going to take map number 1.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to the contrary, whereas gnik seemed to become slightly more irrational as the game went on, maxter just stabilized, because in the early game there was a few hyper aggressive plays and some mistimings coming up, like for that frag for instance, and then all of a sudden I think just filled with confidence after taking those fights, he stabilized, played the items better, and really just round the map out.
And as you mentioned before, those kind of set pieces from maxter with the dire orb were fantastic, because they took away the ability to damage on any items. He was in and out, no issue, didn't have to worry about taking a rail or rocket, and that was very well done from maxter.
For sure, and what he did particularly well was always forcing the Ghost Walk out. As soon as he knew it was off cooldown, he was using his hyper-aggressive plays, closing the gap, and instantly gnik was forced to pop it. So he kept gnik on the back foot with constant pressure in these hyper-aggressive plays that were, well, in the end, well calculated. So all credit to maxter for pulling out that performance, and gnik is definitely the one who needs to step back and reflect, because maxter's come to play.
Yeah, he wants in real bad. He's tired of Nosfa talking down to him. Again, their teammates, Blackhawks clan representing. We're going to get into map 2 shortly. Blood Covenant, it's going to be Athena for gnik and Slash for maxter. I think this one's going to be high flying.
I think so. It's going to be a much higher tempo match if that's possible. Interested to see how the Slash is played. It's definitely a good map for it, not the best map. I think Athena is probably the best pick you could probably play on Blood Covenant. There's so much verticality, and it does unlock a bit of gnik's potential, as he does play better when he's on the front foot. And he was struggling to get on the front foot because, as we said, the aggression from the Ranger from maxter was too much for him. He was always slightly reserved without that Ghost Walk to fall back on. Whereas the Athena, a lot more utility with those grapples. should hopefully let gnik play a bit more carefree, a bit more natural.
We'll see what he can do here as he needs to rebound a bit. So we're getting into map number 2 of the last relegation game of the day for NA and for the league here. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, everyone has guarded their spot.
So far, yeah.
So Maxter going to be the first one. Maybe we'll see if gnik can turn it around. We've seen crazy things happen. Live on Blood Covenant now, map number 2.
And it would be a well-deserved victory, but there's a long way to go. Remember, it is a best of 5 for the relegation matches, so gnik has a couple of a buffer in that aspect, and we do have a small engagement over by the heavy, but nothing too fruitful. Although gnik does have the rail, so sorry to take account for. Although we see Maxter dropping down in our X-ray vision, gnik would assume it's even playing field.
Going silent now, waiting for some sound cues. Sure, Maxter's not at the Mega, and there he is. Look at that damage with the rocket up close. There's the snail trail as well, but can he find the last frag, the last bit of it to get that first one? And he doesn't. 65 HP for gnik. Ooh, with a rocket waiting and a rail. There's so much damage.
Ooh,
wow, Maxter.
Out in the open. And we said
That's
earlier.
Good switch.
Yeah, we said earlier in the day how important the HMG was, so that was a very important switch, because if he missed the rail, gnik would have got away, but the consistent output from the HMG, super useful.
Quick lead for Maxter here as he's zipping around, grabbing those vials, wants to keep that trail up. Whenever he can, is gnik going to drop? Look at that rail again, Maxter. Getting a lot of mileage out of that early.
Items also already have a big split on them, so as Maxter plays a little bit slow, try and get a good control of both items, but that's an aggressive push by gnik. Great use of the hook to get in unscathed, and he will be picking up this Mega. Maxter shouldn't be sticking around here. He is low, and there is plenty of time for gnik to get set up for the heavy, especially after he cleans up with that rail.
Oh, wow. gnik hit him with the Liptons. I'm not sure what you guys drink over there, but I think that's maybe the tea of choice over here. But interesting play from gnik there as he ties it at 1. No fear from the Canadian. As the Shredder looking to open this up. There's another rail.
Might have held that maneuver for slightly later in the series, but you know.
Gotta love the confidence. I think gnik might be the youngest, if not one of the youngest players in the league, so it's good to see that confidence. You gotta be confident in yourself, all right? You're only down a map, it's fine. Everything's fine. This is fine. We'll come back to haunt him.
That would be a highlight reel if it does, but for the moment it doesn't. He is 1-to-1, has a good control of the items. Maxter pushing through. gnik does escape for now. Maxter with the high ground, but he is relatively weak, so won't be making a committal onto this item. And that's some amazing tri-bot, all 3 connecting. Maxter needs to be a bit more careful.
Gets even more tribal out of that off the spawn. Needs to be good. Oh, the shotgun. There's chase. Surely this is a frag right here as Maxter tries to do whatever damage he can, but not really a lot output. gnik's going to look strong for this heavy, and he could just keep the onslaught going right now.
For sure, needs some rockets, but at the minute there's been no close combat fight, so more than happy with the item and the weapons he has. Going into a rail duel with Maxter, not coming out on top just yet, but knowing he has the Mega to fall back on, a worthwhile risk.
Nice little bait with the jump pad there. Doesn't want to fully commit to the rockets. There's a great rail around the corner. Maxter there, but heavy will go to gnik, and his stack is still fantastic here. Maxter needs to be very, very careful. Does grab a 50 shard in the pillar room. Almost gets hit with that rail. Goes up the jump pad, does eat one. A little bit early on the Mega. The rocket isn't going to be well placed. The LG might have to do instead, and there's the full commitment from gnik, standing his ground, getting another frag.
He does take a lot of damage though, so should just be trying to bait out this heavy. Do some damage on it, and that is a perfect start. The rail doesn't follow up, but now he's created an opening to push in. Maxter goes very aggressive, switches weapons to the machine gun. It's not going to be enough. He might get away, but at what cost?
gnik is so low right now, still looking for rail angles. He's fearless, and that rocket is going to put a stop to that. Maybe a little overzealous there.
Was, exactly. A nice follow-up by Maxter.
Looks like that Maxter making him pay. He needs to get out of here. This is a terrible position for gnik to be in. And just like that, it feels like a minute turnaround time, and he might get a rail off the spawn, just missing out. Maxter's low. And there it is, the turnaround. Just grab health. So close. It's free.
I was going to say it was feeling slightly reminiscent of the previous map where gnik just began to throw away frags. I'm not sure what the push towards Mega was, considering there was nothing up. But he does come back, catches Maxter being slightly overzealous himself. Never want to be in a choke point when you've got a nail gun coming at you. Maxter luckily gets away, more or less healthy. It's been an unusual match. It doesn't feel like there's a real flow to it.
Trying to defend this rail is Maxter now. gnik wants to free up here and get good position on this heavy. There's one good shot. Drops down, LG on LG. Maxter might get the best of him here. The rope to try and... wow, the misdirection didn't even work. Maxter with the flick rocket gets the splash damage he needs to tie it at 5.
Nice rail by gnik.
Barely getting out of there. That rocket should have done it. There's more damage from the splash there. gnik's so weak, and he just keeps fighting. He's, again, fearless.
Yeah,
or crazy, or both.
Or both, I think. But that fight was important because now he's weak. It does mean Maxter should get a good lockdown on both items, and look at the position he's in. gnik with nothing, Maxter with everything. So this is the time where the slash can come into play. gnik should only have one grapple as well because he's been spamming them quite a lot to get out of some of these reckless fights. Maxter caught him up the jump pad, but a good clutch rail by gnik. And now Max having a lockdown on items. It could be a scary minute or two unless gnik does something pretty mental. And that's the wrong kind of mental as he's way too early for that mega.
Does hit one decent rocket, but yeah, Maxter, the stack was too big. The LG melts him again. He takes the lead at 6. And gnik has to be careful. Can't let this get too crazy. He can be a bit aggressive sometimes. I mean, he does have the name the Shredder for a reason. His LG is pretty beastly, but sometimes you can't put all your weight into that.
Oh, absolutely, and it's sometimes the small errors that might work against other opponents that will come back to haunt you. Maxter is on the low ground, so will be missing out on this mega, but can do some damage. gnik hasn't got the right weaponry to test out. Does switch to the rail a little bit late. Nice position by Maxter.
Rocket damage misses with the follow-up rail, trying to deal something on that heavy. Maxter is going to back away, grab the upper 50, try and position for this mega, but there's gnik. He wants a piece of it as well. He's going to rope in, rockets out. He gets one big defensive rocket to the face as Maxter doing a good job to fend him off and earn that mega.
Yeah, slightly lacking patience in the approach from gnik. That's a good rail. Maxter might just try and peek for a single rail. Does have the glide in reverse, but you know, once again we've seen overcommittal. Sorry.
No, it's fine. He put up the trail, and then gnik was running into the trail, fearless, and gets that frag. I don't think Maxter wanted that at all. There's the drop down, the rockets from gnik. Not enough. Maxter somehow turns that around. That should have been a frag. I guess the mega saved his life.
I don't think that was a deliberate drop down. He must have just not have missed with any of that lightning gun and sticking around too long. And this whole duel has been a story of overcommittal so far. Nobody wants to win it as they both keep slipping up time and time again when it just feels they're stabilizing.
I feel like part of you wanted to say this is a very NA duel. How dare you? As it's tied at 9 minutes in. It's okay, I'll let it slide.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Going into the final minute here. Let's see who locks this down. Take map number 2. Is gnik going to tie it at 1, or is Maxter going to take a big lead? We've seen the reverse sweep already today. Is gnik going to be put in that position?
Well, it should come down to a solitary frag now, so one would hope the brakes come on ever so slightly, but Maxter hitting a couple of rails definitely feels that he can finish it here and now, but is deciding to stay on the high ground, play patient, missing the easier of the rails, unfortunately, and gnik is just going to hang around as he knows Maxter will probably want to retreat, pick up the heavy, so giving him a little bit of breathing room.
doing a good job of slowing it down. A little bit of LG from down below as Maxter spots him out. Mega's going to be up, so he's going to be able to fall back and grab that. But there's Maxter. There's the airborne rocket. Almost hits the rail, and here's the rope into LG to try and convert. So close. Maxter's so hurt. The rail is going to miss with the shotgun. And he... Oh, another cuppa.
Yeah,
another cuppa.
Oh, NA.
Wow. What a way to end that one. gnik gives him a little drink at the end, and he'll tie it at 1 in the series. And he does it his way. A lot of style. A lot of style on that one.
A lot of style. Not that higher percentages across the board. Unfortunately, I think if gnik was definitely hitting more of his rail, that would have been a much easier victory. Fairly even across in terms of damage. gnik with a little bit more control. But as we said, like, it was just slightly awkward engagements throughout, and just nobody was taking control and playing the safer route there. They're obviously highly aggressive players, and that's what works for them. So it definitely could have gone either way. And maxter trying to meta game gnik and double back straight into a shotgun blast to the face to finish it off.
Yeah, absolutely brutal. Very back and forth, a little bit sloppy at times, as you said. Maybe over committals, maybe we could call it, I don't know, miscalculating sacks. Maybe it's not all just I'm going to sit here and try and out LG you. But nevertheless, gnik ties it at 1. Now it's going to take some weight off of his shoulders, as we're going to get into the third map shortly. Molten Falls, and we got Keel versus Scale.
I'm not sure about the Keel pick. I think Keel's a strong champion, but I don't think Molten really capitalizes upon the strengths of that champion. Scalebearer a little bit more so, because you have a couple of good routes to use your bull rush. You have the speed advantage by far, and it is quite a big map in all contexts, and this was large open mid ground, and that's not what Keel favors. Keel favors these close, tight combat situations, and you can force them, but most of the combat areas in Molten are quite open. But it doesn't fill me with the most amount of confidence. I'm not sure where you sit on that, though.
I mean, I love Keel regardless, but it's going to be interesting to see where gnik decides to trap. I imagine heavy is probably the most lucrative, because you have that kind of backing where you could just bounce nades off from the top of the jump pad, or maybe even down below if you come in through the rail room. But it really depends, because Scalebearer's bull rush can just knock you right out or get away for free. Again, the armor increase and damage reduction on the bull rush is going to be very important too. So I'm interested to see how gnik is going to play this, because it is kind of a weird pick. But I'm ride or die for Keel. I love my pineapples. I don't know about you. I love them on pizza. I don't care. I'm looking forward to it.
You're going to trigger chat right there, I'm sure.
Oh, they're already triggered. It's too late. I don't care. I'll die on that hill. Pineapple on pizza is fantastic, and so is this set as we're getting into map number 3. gnik versus maxter. Maxter trying to make his way into the league. gnik doesn't want that to happen, and he's putting his foot down, at least for map number 2. He did, and let's see if he could do it again.
Yes, let's see. On picks alone, I'm definitely going to favor maxter in this situation. Should be an entertaining brawl no matter what. Heavy versus heavy usually ends up in that. And it will be a more balanced encounter than we saw earlier in the day when there was the clutch up against the scale. That was just, that wasn't fun to watch. But this will be, as maxter gets the first lick of damage with the longer range lightning gun, swap into the machine gun and decides that's not the right idea, so does need to back off.
Yeah, that was a bit brutal there. Lots of shaft dealt out as gnik stacking back up. Maxter needs some armor there, taking the TP, and the chase is on. gnik smells him. He saw him at the last second. A little bit of rocket damage. Can he convert this? There's the rail. The swap just in the nick of time and denies the mega. I don't think he's going to be able to get the heavy damage on it, but Maxter needs to be careful. He's going to double back into it. There's a rail. There's the rockets. Oh my god.
That was... I genuinely don't know what happened there. He just got bounced around and through the telly. Luckily, gnik survived, but he's still railable. So, treading pretty dangerously, going through the mid-ground. Maxter should be able to wrap up the mega. gnik might want to drop just for some damage. Nice flick rail. The mega's still up there, remember, and they will be trading as heavies also roughly on the same time.
Indeed, and Maxter's very fortunate to not be down 0-2 after those rockets. gnik did him a favor, pushed him through the telly. The LG on LG again. No one willing to stand down. 2 HP for gnik, takes out Maxter. Wow.
That was the definition of a man fight. As you said, no one willing to back down. Big boy versus big boy. gnik just coming out on top. but now is low relative to the stack of Maxter. Max is caught in here, down on the low ground. He is by the health, but it's all gone, and his life will be gone as well as Maxter picks that up. Might be able to even get across to pick up this heavy, if not deal some significant damage. gnik's there, but what has he got to play with? He's got a lightning gun. That is all he's got. Going up the jump pad, he hits the pineapple, and somehow he comes out on top. This is chaotic start.
I'm surprised that the Bull Rush didn't come out to cover ground and try and get there faster from Maxter, but yeah, gnik does a good job of refragging quickly.
Yeah, the only thing I can assume is that Maxter thought it would have been picked up already, realizing it hadn't, tried to commit, but unfortunately was slightly too late. This time he does go a bit more reserved against gnik, who has now worked his way into a position for the heavy, so that's actually quite a big mistake from Maxter.
What a rail.
One thing gnik's winning today is definitely style points.
Yeah, this is hitting the drive-by rails. No problem here. He's looking for more damage. Up 3-1, feeling pretty good. That jump scared the life out of me, I'm not gonna lie. I thought he was gonna clip and fall off. Good rail there from Maxter. And I like gnik using that extra stack to rocket jump around, almost like he's Ranger, really. Just to cover ground and make Keel way more mobile than he should be. There's the Bull Rush. Doing so much damage, but Maxter makes it around the corner, shoulder checks, and gets the frag and the heavy.
Yeah, and the pineapples don't really do much against a Bull Rush with that damage reduction, so good use of that in close combat. So this is the dilemma, really, and why a lot of the fights are quite chaotic, because both of these champions do favor closer combat situations in choke points, so Keel's spamming the grenades through them and the Bull Rush is just running through them. It really comes down to who can hit harder.
Wants to get in there, he's going to go through the telly. Maxter drops down, grabs the heavy. Great rail.
Nice.
Somehow dodges the rocket as well, and that's 2 quick rails from Maxter and ties it at 3. Well done.
As this game begins to steady just a bit in tempo. Oh, double back, nice double back using the speed boost from the scale, and he's going to try and charge in. Ole! Does miss him, but finishes him off.
Almost survives that one. That was very close. After utilizing that Bull Rush decently. We'll call it closing the gap. Just because he didn't get damage doesn't mean it wasn't worth the use. As he re-ups on rockets and the 50 shard. Mega is going to be up shortly here as he's lying in wait. And here comes gnik like a wrecking ball. He's just going to drop down and steal it, and Maxter's okay with conceding that.
This is the way a heavy versus heavy pairing normally plays out, because they spawn with such a big stack and the fights are so chaotic. One normally comes out on top, ends up with such a low stack, the other gets a big spawn, charges in with a weapon, rinse and repeat. So the most crucial time in these type of encounters is after you get that spawn, and this is exactly what Maxter needs to be doing, is playing the range game, picking your opponent off, because gnik didn't have that weapon. He wants to take a fight, so you need to play around that urgency and abuse the fact they're going to be rushing you. So Maxter right now has done a really great job of doing that.
That rocket was so close. He's going to grab T25s. I don't think he's going to press his luck on that Mega. Does get a rail, but the Mega's right there for gnik, so a bit of... Ooh. Thought that rail was going to send him flying off the map. gnik is hitting these pretty nuts rails right now.
He is, but he missed out on the previous heavy, and it might miss out on this one as well. So if he can get it, that's a big win. And going through that teleporter, the pineapple come through, but the drive-by pickup, Maxter survives for now. Is gnik going to be able to chase? He is, and he hits the rail to finish, but look at his stack. It's not that big. Big enough to compete, though.
Machine gun isn't going to help that stack at all as he's trying to hit these rails, but he's just getting torn to pieces. There is a Mega for him. That's going to help him fighting for this heavy. What a great rail from gnik. Is now he's okay. All right. He's been watching some Wenger VODs, I think, maybe.
Maxter pressuring hard from above, and there was 0 damage from gnik, unfortunately, which means Maxter's in the perfect position to pressure this Mega. gnik might commit. The pineapple boops him away, so will gnik deserve to drop? No, he doesn't. Maxter charges through once again and is in a good position to take this game by the scruff of the neck. He wants to pressure gnik. Good rail from behind, but at the right route, gnik will not pick up the heavy. And now he's in trouble, 40.
Look at that stack. Becky, look at that stack as Maxter is looking for this frag. He smells it. He wants it. He wants to take this lead as we're rounding the 7-minute mark here shortly. Bull Rush is going to be back, and that's going to be huge.
Yeah, I mean, as huge as his stack, this is the time to go aggressive now. He's got the fullback of a light, he's got the fullback of a heavy. He obviously wants to take the right engagement. This is why he's using his audio cues, trying to trap his opponent, but gnik is just going to be running across the map, doesn't want to even look at major items right now until he gets more of a stack, and that rail cripples gnik. Good double back! And a good rail.
Just really well played from maxter. One, and then he's like, okay, you're going to try and grab that armor, and that's mine, and now he's hitting LG into rail again. Such patience. He has the stack to burn the HMG. That about evens it though, but Mega's right there for him, and maxter is just in prime position to take this. That's a good rail. The pineapple almost connects. You can't let the stacks get too out of hand here. Misses through the telly. A little bit of spam from maxter there as he's going to bully him off the heavy yet again.
And this is looking rough for gnik as maxter's the one progressing. Maxter's the one hitting the shots, and maxter's the one we see the stack is just continuing to build. And the time is ticking away for gnik. A rail just misses through the scalp of the big man. That's painful. Every missed rail is so painful because maxter's doing a good job of actually taking relatively safe routes and picking the right engagement. So gnik needs to make every shot count.
Minutes left. One frag lead for maxter. The intergalactic warlord running the map, just Pac-Manning these items, adding to his stack. Bull Rush in hand, rockets ready. gnik has to start making a play here. Even though he doesn't have the stack, he's got to utilize those pineapples, maybe some shotgun.
Another rotation of items uncontested. I mean, gnik has found the light, so he picked himself up a good starting stack, and he's caught maxter on the high ground, but the Bull Rush will make him escape. gnik's also really out of position for this heavy. Needs to contest it, though. He can't afford to miss out on this item, but Max is doing such a good job on the high ground, and gnik is forced to back away. Maxter wants to end it here and now. Wants to, but can't, as gnik's position with the spam is good, but that is not the right choice. Maxter picks up a much-needed second frag in the lead.
That buffer could be all he needed there. Good play out of the telly. Good machine gun damage from gnik as he has to chase this down. There's really no time. More machine gun coming in. The rail will miss. Maxter's very weak. This could be a frag for gnik as he pushes in. Can he get it? There's a good defensive rail as he backs away. 18 HP. How is he alive?
Oh, I'm surprised he didn't Bull Rush for the Mega, but instead doubles back, takes the safer option, and the heavy's up. So gnik miscalculated. He tried to bait Maxter out, and it didn't work. And Maxter now just needs to hold out for 30 seconds. Good rail from gnik, but response in kind from maxter. And now he's escaped as well. Gotta remember that the speed of Scalebearer is much more than Keel. He can just run for days, and it looks like gnik's run out of time.
Yeah, those sandals are made for sprinting apparently, as maxter will sprint his way towards this 2-1 lead in the set as he takes Molten Falls from gnik, and that one was a close one. It was similar to the last map where it's just kind of a brawl back and forth. It was just a little bit different based on, you know, heavy champ versus light champ, but similar, very, very similar. These guys aren't willing to kind of back out.
I think they play very similar styles, like quite flair, very eccentric. They want to take fights. The key moment in that particular encounter, though, was that middle game for like 2 minutes after maxter got one of the frags. He had around about 100 stack. gnik off the spawn wanted to pressure, and maxter played a really amazing plus back game for a good 2 minutes or so, living off the lights, just picking gnik apart as he was trying to force the issue. And there was no coming back from that, because I think off the back of that, maxter managed to get a frag. He then had perfect control for the next 2 or 3 rotations, and gnik just ran out of time.
Unfortunate for him, it was close, but gnik's slipping slowly as maxter's one map away from breaking into the Pro League here. The next map is going to be Ruins of Sarnath. gnik is going to have a BJ, and maxter's going to have a Sorlag. Who do you think this favors?
I think it favors the Sorlag. You can definitely pick up the momentum on Ruins of Sarnath, and you need to be using that duel particularly tactfully, particularly against the stack of a Sorlag. So it is going to be tough for gnik, and we've seen the way maxter likes to play. I think it favors him ever so slightly.
Looking forward to it. I think you're right. The mobility is going to be huge on this one, especially if he gets an early lead. The ability to kind of run away and play this plus back game except at an extremely high pace, is very viable. But we'll see. gnik maybe has some dual wield in him, maybe strapping down at the heavy area. LG's rockets can be absolutely explosive down there, electrifying even, if you will. We'll see. We'll see if this is going to be 3-1 or if gnik is going to force a 5th map. We've seen it before. Could happen.
We have seen it before. gnik, not known for his temperament, unfortunately, but if ever he needs it now. And it is probably the toughest of the picks so far in terms of the champions. So it is going to be a really tough road for gnik. He's definitely got it in him. He was outgunned by Max the last game, so that's pretty rare for him. Definitely needs to step up as well. We'll see what he brings. Just want to see a good game. It's been a fun series, a lot of brawling, and I don't expect that to change whatsoever.
No, I don't think they're going to change that anytime soon. If a 5th map is forced, it's going to be on Veil. It's going to be Death Knight versus a Doom, and that one should be good too. But gnik has to win this one first. You can't get ahead of yourself, so we'll see what he can pull off here as we're just waiting to get into it. I'm looking forward to seeing kind of how he starts the game, gnik specifically. If he's going to play more rail heavy, again, it does depend on the spawn that he gets, but we kind of saw those flicky, like Wenger style rails. Whether or not he was hitting all of them, I don't know if that's what you really want to do. Maybe set up and be a little more precise, but hey, if it works, who am I to judge, right? I don't know.
I completely
like
agree.
the Hang said, if it works, it's not stupid, so.
Yeah, I completely agree. And for me, gnik plays best when he's playing that rail game. I just feel he gets drawn into these fights and he hasn't got the best interpretation of which fights to take, how long to stick around in them, and that was perfectly reflected on Awoken when he was taking these lightning gun fights, which were just purely not in his favor. So if he gets drawn into that battle, he's going to lose because he hasn't got the stack advantage over a Sorlag. But if he, as you rightly say, if he can play a solid fundamental game around the rail, that's when he's going to have the best chance of winning this and using that dual tactfully.
I agree completely. You got to wonder if some of that not willing to back down is maybe ego or what. I'm not saying that's what the case is here, but that could be a lot of it. Is, I'm not going to back down. I can out LG you, and then next thing you know, you're down 3 frags. But that is in the past, and this is going to be it right here, potentially, as gnik versus maxter map number 4 is live on Ruins. We got BJ and we got Sorlag, and that rail is in gnik's hands right off the bat.
maxter carefree, just drive-by pickup, didn't even get the lightning gun, just want to say hello, tickles him, but good response, popping the dual wield just in case he wants to double back in for a fight, because gnik obviously didn't have a rocket and maxter did. Nothing comes of it though.
Good rail from gnik there, looking for a follow-up, almost hits the tail. He's going to drop down, there's an LG, and it should be enough, and it is just in the nick of time. 49 HP left. That poor passive only doing 1 tick of health, but the Mega's going to be right there for him. That's a good frag to get. Wow, really good rail from gnik there. Should have him trapped, but does he have the weaponry? A little bit of LG, the Hyper Blaster, but maxter's LG is too strong, getting that frag back almost immediately.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations again where he hit the rail, he didn't need to go and close the gap. He could have played at distance because he had the rail advantage. So once again, it's just a misinterpretation of how to handle that particular situation. It comes back to bite him. You're right, that opening frag was really key because the dual wield was coming off cooldown. He hit a great rail. Wrong situation on top. Does manage though to reclaim that lead with some great lightning gun.
Yeah, maxter tries to make a little bit too much happen there, doesn't concede, and he gets taken down. And great rail from gnik, and he's going to take that damage, and he's going to go down to the Mega, and the rocket is going to be on point, make that 2, and he should be able to close this gap. The spit comes out, but maxter's so incredibly weak, and he misses with the rail. As the spit is wearing down on gnik, he needs to find health immediately. This could be really bad. The Mega is available. That rail was so close. That could have been an amazing setup from maxter, but now he's going to get taken down as a dual wield for a little bit of insurance from gnik. In the LG room, gets another frag, 3-1.
Yep, gnik so far has done a good job after making that initial mistake, and it is maxter who's getting a bit caught up in the speed of the Sorlag, slightly reckless, jumping down into gnik's territory, so needs to check himself before he wrecks himself.
You've seen it before with Anarchy and Sorlag. Sometimes you go full Ricky Bobby and you just gotta go fast. And look at that rocket to rail combo from the Shredder. 4-1, making it look easy. Grabbing that health bubble to make sure that spit doesn't hurt too much, but all this damage coming out from maxter turns it around. And again, as you mentioned before, that starting stack on the heavy champions warrants you to do that. It gives you the opportunity, and it pays off. But wow, gnik says, I got 2 of these. Playing a little bit of rock there.
maxter will be picking up this mega. gnik will try and hit a nice little cheeky rail, but doesn't come off. Creative angles here. Just look at the size of maxter's stack from one item relative to gnik. This is why you just have to be careful. Constantly just nibble away at any one of their pickups. Nice.
Oh, this is NA. There's no nibbling. Full buffet every time as they drop down. There's the spit. There's the LG who's going to get the best of him. maxter's spit will help him out again. He's going to grab the heavy as well and be able to stack back up off 225s as he makes his way back to the mega. There's a rocket jump to secure it, and that is huge. Ooh, that rail actually really good, but maxter returns it, almost gets another one. And he does as gnik re-peaks again, and this is just a sick game they're playing.
And you're right, whenever there's a fight, nobody wants to back down. It's like gladiators. They fight to the death every time they see one another.
Yeah, they'd rather die than concede anything. That's not a thing.
There's no honor in running away.
Exactly. 6-3 as mega goes to gnik. Heavy goes to maxter. That stack's so big, like you said, right off the spawn, 1 item, and you are just boosted. gnik has a lot of work to do here, but those rails from far away, even HMG, can be lucrative. He just needs to find the angles here. Little preemptive rocket just now missing. maxter missing with a rail, following up with one. There's the dual wheel to scare him off.
Yeah, that's the
shoo him out of there.
Get out of there for sure.
Get off my lawn.
Gotta commit for this mega. Manages to knock maxter off, and he knocks him all the way down, but in doing so, damages himself with just the pure, overwhelming stack of the lizard is far too much.
That was incredible. Both of them falling down. maxter getting the best of them. Able to get that mega. Slowly chipping away at this lead. 6-4 now as we're getting close to the midway point. maxter wants to put this away in 4. gnik doing his best to not allow that. Here's the heavy goes to maxter. Stacks about even. Towards rockets, but he might get caught out. There's LG to rail. And this is a very bad position for gnik to be stuck in. No spit yet from maxter. That's a good defensive rocket. Slightly altering his position in that rail follow-up. So good from gnik. And maxter hits him with the roof. Oh.
Way. The hazards of playing in Zoom as he literally ate everything gnik shot at him. Couldn't have tried harder to walk into everything, but
it was delicious.
It was, yeah, as you said, they don't nibble in America, although he's from Argentina.
It's a real problem, actually. So gnik gonna get this mega sitting on a 3 frag lead, and that's a little bit of a misstep. Should be okay, but yeah, that fight over mega earlier where they both fell down, that was very unfortunate. Here is look at that cheeky rail from around the corner. Just saw a tail into rail, and it did not fail. Outputting the damage as best he can, and gnik with a good denial rail right there as he tries to jump across that rocket. Oh my goodness, that could have been right in the mouth of that dinosaur.
Time is slowly ticking away. Although gnik has been slightly too greedy in some situations, he has stabilized and played a fairly methodical game so far, just working the items, and we haven't seen maxter have a dominating stack at all, so that's all credit to gnik as he picks up another easy frag on maxter just before the heavy as well, so definitely sets maxter back from committing to this. Does get the railgun spawn, and that's a good follow-up as well. Could finish gnik off, he's taken around himself, but he can easily eat 1 or 2 more.
Would have loved to see machine gun swap right there,
yeah,
but
for sure. Especially since Blaskowitz damage sounds are so audible.
He's definitely loud about what's happening to him here. Is the drop down and the follow-up from maxter does eat a rail, but hitting a lot of what he needs to hit right now. Not pretty, but he's trying to get it done. Still down 3 with 3 minutes left. Heavy's going to go to maxter.
It's just another one of those situations where you have to question what gnik is doing. He's standing in a corridor trying to rail through a grate with no stack, and we know how the sword can move with that CPM movement. You could just drop and fly into your face. It's just, it's a low reward play.
Yeah, but if he would have hit that rail, it would have been, well, great.
exactly.
I don't regret that. LG on LG, as the rockets aren't going to be enough, and this should be, and you kind of just saw gnik give up. He was like, this is a terrible position. I'm toasted.
And I said a minute ago, gnik's done a great job of not giving maxter a full stack, and now look at us. He's already clawed back 3 frags since I said that, and he's got a lockdown on both items, and he's got another frag as gnik runs off the spawn for 3 times in a row. And where has that lead gone? Where has that careful play gone as gnik has given away this map so far and there's only 2 minutes remaining?
All I can say is welcome to Jurassic Park. Rail off the spawn. If he wants to rocket jump up, he could, but he's going to wait for the item. Patient play for maxter there, not getting 2 in his own head, doesn't want to go full frag movie or anything. And now gnik has to work the pull. There's the dual wield rather, as he drops down. Try both. That should be a layup of a rail, and it is. And gnik's so weak.
Oh, wow. Why? Why does he commit for that? I'm so confused, 40.
Oh no, there's another rail. Now he's trapped up the jump pad. He goes. There should be another frag for maxter. There's nowhere for him to go, and there's the rocket. Oh no, 8 to 10. Maxter could fly away with this one.
I wouldn't be surprised if he rushes for this heavy, and exactly what he does. No weapons, nothing. And I have to say, this is a good game. gnik has... well, no discredit to maxter, but gnik has thrown this away with questionable play after questionable play. Maxter did what he needed to do, and he will be the one to progress and win his spot finally in the Quake Pro League.
Look, I just have this feeling where if you were to ask the king, Cooler, how to play, you just have to know when to be aggressive. I just feel like that's what he would say.
It is.
And
it's...
gnik just looks like raw aggression off the spawn, knowing that he has a lower starting stack, and yeah, you got to question the thought process behind it. As we're about 40 seconds away from maxter punching his ticket into the Pro League.
I mean, I was praising gnik, and for 7 minutes he deserved every word, but in the space of a minute he literally gave away 5 frags, and it's unfortunate, but I'm really happy that we get to see maxter in the Pro League. We've got more talent coming from South America. He's played really well. I enjoy watching him, and I mean, unfortunately, he's obviously not in the best conditions. 150 ping. I think he plays on a laptop with like 75 hertz.
I think he mentioned he's actually like at a friend's house or a LAN cafe right now. I don't think his computer is fully built yet, but there it is. It is official. Maxter is in the Quake Pro League. Well done to him. Shouts to gnik, but he couldn't defend his spot this time. And it's good to see new talent come in, but it's always sad to see old talent go. I mean, bittersweet, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you said it best, and it was a fun series. It was an entertaining series. Full credit to maxter for working his way through for the I think it's the second, maybe third time of trying, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun watching him next season in the Quake Pro League, as he brings a lot to the table, a new and inventive style. So I'm happy to see that. But condolences to gnik, as he does drop out, and we'll have to try again next time. But we will shoot to a break, and we look forward to seeing you afterwards, and we'll break it down on the panel.